January 28th, 2018. The Counter-Strike Major Finals in Boston. Cloud9 versus FaZe. We've seen this matchup 4 times in the last 7 months. The last 3 of those with the same rosters. FaZe won every series.
There it is, and Rain just slides around the corner and ends it.
But this time in Boston was going to be different. With $500,000 on the line, in front of a home crowd of 7,000 screaming fans and 1.3 million people watching on Twitch, Cloud9 was going to defy the odds.
It's history unlike what we've seen before, so it ranks pretty damn highly for the first North American Major 1 in Global Offensive, 1 on home turf, at E-League of all places.
And when people think of the Boston Major, the play that comes to mind is Stewie2K's 1v3 clutch to bring the match to overtime.
And the fact that Stewie2K pulls it off as well, like he was like America's kind of wonder child. As soon as he hits that shot and the bomb's loose, it's like he's done it. It's over. We're going to OT. It's just hype as hell, and I love the fact you get the home crowd going absolutely wild.
This right here, this is a classic underdog story. The home team protecting their turf, earning the respect of the world, and making all of North America proud. The top CSGO teams from all over the world converged at Boston's Agganis Arena in late January for the Boston Major. Among them was Cloud9, an established esports organization with a talented CSGO roster. In the first half of 2017, though, they were hit or miss and took a loss against FaZe. In August, Shroud left to stream full-time and nothing was benched, so Cloud9 brought in Rush and Tarek to round out Stewie, Skadoodle, and Automatic.
Going into the Boston Major, I think Cloud9 were an underdog. There were eyes on a lot of teams, and I think people were maybe looking at this roster as like a last straw, and significant changes are needed if they want to compete with people like FaZe Clan, who have bigger names and bigger firepower across the board. So I think people expected them to get like a potentially deep run, but I don't think anybody would have expected them to even make a final.
And the power of FaZe was no joke. Not only were they performing better than Cloud9 in the first half of 2017, but they also made roster moves in August, building upon the strength of Nico, Rain, and Kerrigan with Guardian and Olofmeister. This was now considered a super team that beat up Cloud9 from September through December on 3 different occasions. It happened at ESL One New York, 3-0.
All the kills coming in so quickly.
And then at IEM Oakland, 2-0.
And FaZe, they've done it. They're going to win this series out.
And lastly, the ECS Season 4 Finals, where FaZe blocked Cloud9 from even getting out of groups.
He's given his position. Oh, wait, what is that? What a way to close it from Nico.
Based on that trend, the general threat of FaZe, and how Cloud9 started the Boston Major, you wouldn't be faulted for writing off C9. First, they started 0-3 in the qualifiers, but managed to recover to get to the group stage. Then, an 0-2 start in the group stage had many worries.
Yeah, going 0-2 in the group stage, Cloud9, it was pretty worrying. And at that point, I don't think I think you're expecting them to like maybe win a match or 2, but they're probably going to be eliminated by a stronger team, one of the heavier favorites at that point. So once they go 0-2, I think people are disappointed, of course, because it's an NA team in NA.
Somehow, Cloud9 recovered again to punch a ticket to the bracket stage.
And at that point, it's definitely one match at a time, but I don't think anybody's looking towards them making a final. It's just like, let's see how deep they can go and what we could take away from that moving into like Counter-Strike going forward. I don't think anybody was really considering a potential final too much.
And again, subverting all expectations, Cloud9 sat across from FaZe at the finals of the Boston Major. For FaZe, getting this win meant more than just a crisp $500,000.
I mean, just this was supposed to be it for Nico. This was supposed to be it for Olofmeister doing it again. Like showing that he can still lift major trophies. Kerrigan as an in-game leader, like looking for a feather in his cap. Guardian, a long storied career, but no major trophy. This was supposed to be his. Rain as well, like a long-time player, no major in the trophies in the cabinet.
So the teams met and they traded blows in a best of 3. In Counter-Strike, you need 16 rounds to win the map. And after 2 maps, the score was tied 1-1. And the crowd was alive.
Ah, man, the crowd is such an unquantifiable conundrum. You know, I see it discussed a lot on Reddit. Like, is it a real LAN without the crowd? And everyone understands to some capacity that the crowd is an additional element. The players talk about it all the time.
The atmosphere on finals day was absolutely insane. People were completely ecstatic and just fueled by adrenaline as far as Cloud9 were concerned. You know, if FaZe achieved anything, the crowd was basically dead. And if Cloud9 achieved anything, then the crowd was absolutely insane. So you kind of had to lean towards Cloud9 somewhat just to kind of egg on the crowd to make as much noise as possible.
So the finals went to a game 3, and the first half was fairly even. FaZe, though, pulled away to a 15-11 scoreline in the second half.
They cannot win this, they've got to run away. They have to run away. They've got all the kills, but they won't win the round. It's match point FaZe.
One round was all they needed to silence 7,000 people. But the boys in blue never said die. Cloud9 picked up 3 rounds in a row, and now it was 15-14. And this is the moment Stewie2K stood alone against 3 members of FaZe with time running out to keep the match going.
So it's 29 seconds, and FaZe at this point have got full top A control, and it's a 3-2 split of Cloud9. They've got someone over in Banana, it's Olof, trying to keep top Banana info, which means this is a big fake. So because Olof knows that the CTs don't know how many people are in that top Banana area, these boys are about to barrage loads of nades towards A, which will keep all 3 of those bums in their seats on A. And at this point, at the 29-second mark, when you see all of those nades arriving on the site that you're stacked on, you're sitting there gravy, you're holding your lines, you're thinking about the headshot, trying to visualize the head that's about to come around the corner. Whereas these boys from FaZe start charging towards the B-bomb site. They evacuate, and this is a bad death. Olof's died before they could arrive, and Stewie's had time to reposition. So because of Olof just getting picked, Stewie just getting that freebie now, they just walk into his line, they've just got no time, they needed to be going in. Like, Olof wanted to be catching Stewie, and he's just walked straight in and just finished him off. It's beautiful.
But look at the time! Look at the time, there's 7 seconds to blow the bomb! They're trying to build pyramids, but there's no more play! Stewie's won the round! We go to overtime!
Cloud9 have done it! How have they done that? They came back all the way!
Once I saw the clock and I saw how much potential there was for Stewie to abuse that clock, because first I thought, okay, he's going to get traded and it's going to be a retake situation for Cloud9. But then I thought, oh, hold on a second, they don't have time to do that. They've got to go for it. They dumped all their util as well towards the A-bomb site. So it's like the perfect clash in that respect. There were so many things going on and different potential ways it goes. Like maybe Stewie stops the plant, maybe he doesn't. If he doesn't, maybe he's still alive at the back of the site, maybe Automatic can rotate in and help him some way, or maybe he dies and it's going to be retake. There's so many different ways it can go. But he just shuts the whole thing down one by one, takes his team to overtime. And you can see like the release of energy from the crowd afterwards, the release of energy from the players. I think the crowd gave the players so much extra energy and drive to deliver in that respect. So it was absolutely bananas. I've done a lot of events, but I haven't seen something like that where it's like the home turf team coming back like Rocky, basically. You know, it's very, very unique.
They came back all the way! All the way!
Stewie's B-side defense brought Cloud9 to overtime, and the arena shook with the roar of the crowd, and the world lost their collective minds. But the job wasn't complete quite yet. Overtime in Counter-Strike is 6 rounds with players starting with $10,000 each. If the game is still tied after 6 rounds, a second overtime triggers. At one point, Stewie almost sealed the game with an ace.
Can he do it? Can he do it? No!
But maybe 2 miracles was too much to ask of one person. FaZe even brought it to a second overtime with a 2v1 clutch from Guardian.
There's the first one! We're going to overtime number 2! Cloud9 don't do it!
But finally, in the second half of the second overtime, Cloud9 put FaZe to rest with a snipe from Skadoodle.
As Cloud9 sets the push up. Oh, it's happened! They made it work! Cloud9 are your E-League Major champions!
Oh, it's the de facto stamp of approval of like America has been through Counter-Strike. Like these are the names that actually, you know, lifted the flag. I think a lot of them needed that. I think a lot of North American Counter-Strike fans needed that, like this beautiful Cinderella story, and seeing evidence NACS is not just some sort of kind of side story.
I think people look back at this Stewie play specifically because he has stopped basically a team from winning a major alone, essentially. He's got the country on his back. Practically everybody who's in the venue is rooting for Cloud9 there. They want to see history made, essentially, whether you're from North America or not, whether you live here or not, something that we've never seen before in Counter-Strike Global Offensive. He was fighting for a cultural moment, and the crowd were there to witness it. And that's, I think, what made that moment so special.
It's said that winning comes down to getting up off the ground just one more time than your opponent. That's what Cloud9 did in Boston against FaZe, and to this day is a source of pride not only for North American Counter-Strike fans, but NA esports as a whole. They battled through the qualifiers, groups, and bracket stage despite the challenges in front of them. And when it came time to face FaZe, they rose to the occasion and etched their names into CSGO history.